Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic today. Before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem, and some people I thank who have inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. I will have links below this video to their sites. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Alona Nava, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rav Daniel Asore, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism, Rabbi David Asher, and Yaron Ruvain. And as well, if you've never checked out this channel before, you can check out my first video that I will link right below this video that talks about what M.L.M for the soul means, what it stands for, and what I'm doing. So today's part 3 in this continuing series, which will probably go on for quite a few more times, on Shmirat, HaLashon, guarding your speech. And this is taken from this little booklet that was given to me, and has some really good insights from the Chofetz Chaim. And I have 3 more days to do. This is day 7. It's called the 7 Rules of To'eles from the Sefer Chofetz Chaim. So earlier in this volume, we referred to 7 conditions which must be fulfilled before one is permitted to relate Lashon Hara To'eles. That means for a constructive purpose. These are, so just so you know, if you ever think you're in doubt, also I will have below this video as well the number you can call if you have questions, or if you want to go on there, the number where you can listen to lectures, talks about it as well. One must be absolutely certain that the information is accurate. Either one has to have witnessed the incident himself, or he investigated the report and found it to be accurate. If one has second-hand negative information which he wishes to relay for a constructive purpose, he must make it clear that his words are based on hearsay. So meaning if you didn't hear it directly, you can't say you did. Number 2, one must think the matter through and be sure that a wrong has actually been committed. Sometimes what one may think is a misdeed may be in fact be permitted by halacha, so be careful about that. Speak to a Rav if you're not sure, of a rabbi. One must be certain that his information, as in his interpretation of the information, are correct before the information can be related. Number 3, one must first approach a wrongdoer and attempt to persuade him to rectify his behavior. So, for example, a storekeeper was seen cheating a customer. The first step will be to speak to the storekeeper and try to persuade him to return the money. Only after this fails should one consider informing the customer that he was cheated. So first go directly to the person. If they don't want to, rectify the situation, then you go on to the next. Number 4, one is not permitted to exaggerate in any way. This can be especially difficult in a situation where one is relating information regarding an emotional issue. So you have to be very careful that you say the absolute accurate truth, not add to it and embellish it. Number 5, one's intention must be solely to help the person who is being victimized. This is crucial. If one harbors any ill will towards the subject of the report, then he is not permitted to relate it for a constructive reason. Of course, one should make every effort to rid oneself of such ill will. For example, for a storekeeper to tell a potential customer about his competitor's wrongdoing would have the likely effect of drawing this customer into his own store. In that case, the discussion would be forbidden because you're, doing something that's not constructive. In a case where one has constructive negative information to relate but feels that he has a personal interest in the matter, it would be advised him to consult a Rav. So be careful. If you're in doubt, like I said, I will include the hotline that you can call with any questions on whether you can say things or not. Number 6, if one can affect the same result without speaking Lashon Hara, then he must use that option. If one wants to warn a friend not to shop in a certain store because of the proprietor's dishonesty, and there is a way to convince him to shop elsewhere without speaking badly of the proprietor, then the option must be said. Like, for example, you can maybe say, well, you know what, let's go to this other store. I like this store. And don't say, well, they have better deals, because then you're saying he doesn't have good deals, so that's Lashon Hara too. So you just kind of have to be very, very careful. Say, oh, let's just go to this store. I saw some things I like in there, something like that, without adding anything to it. And finally, number 7, one is not allowed to convey the information if this will result in the subject suffering a greater loss than the halacha allows. So now day 8. Be prepared, also from Sefer Chofetz Chaim. A successful public speaker knows that proper preparation is the key to delivering a good speech. A lecturer cannot come unprepared to deliver an address and expect his thoughts to be organized and his words eloquent. The Chofetz Chaim tells us, "Come see my brother how carefully one has to weigh each word before speaking negatively l'to'eles. When someone has wronged him, because when he speaks, he stands in great danger of transgressing the sin of Lashon Hara. Clearly, it is regarding this that we can say Death and life are in the power of the tongue. That's in Mishlei. HaChaim v'hamavet biyad HaLashon in Hebrew. If one will not consider carefully before he speaks exactly how he was going to present the matter, he will surely stumble. Heaven forbid. For at that moment his anger will get the better of him and it will be impossible to exercise proper caution. So you're thinking more emotionally, so then you're just going to blurt out things that you shouldn't be saying. When someone without proper forethought tells others how someone has hurt him or is planning to hurt him, his emotions quickly override his intention to speak only Toelis. Again, can't do that. Once one has decided exactly what he wants to say, he should carefully examine his presentation in the light of the 7 requirements of constructive speech that I just mentioned. He should analyze each thought. Does it contain anything inflammatory? Are there any exaggerations? One should consider possible questions which the listener might ask and how to respond, because that could be an issue too. Like, let's say he asks you, well, what do you think of this and this? And it's something that cause you to say Lashon Hara. Be really careful. One should be prepared to respond quickly without stumbling, for once the speaker begins to stumble, it will be hard for him to regain control of the conversation, and that is when Lashon Hara can begin. Furthermore, if the speaker will not prepare himself well, the listener may elicit information that should not be offered. If these precautions seem excessive, imagine the precautions a person would take if he were working in a lab where deadly viruses are studied, right? If we're thinking about something more physical, more material, as opposed to something more spiritual. That is how situations involving potential Lashon Hara should be treated. For again, as Shlomo HaMelech declared, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So imagine that. You're in a lab, you're dealing with things that are toxic, or someplace where they say, that radiation, poison, you have to dress in some special suit and be all covered up. So think about that. Keep that maybe in the front of your mind. Say, wow, this is like something deadly and cause death on a spiritual scale. And now the last day in here is day 9, called Fanning the Flames. Again, Sefer Chofetz Chaim, Laws of Rechilos. This brief chapter in Sefer Chofetz Chaim is a very revealing one. Earlier, the Chofetz Chaim presented a situation where one is guilty of Rechilos without telling the person any facts which he did not already know. In this chapter, the Chofetz Chaim presents other such situation. He begins with a case involving a din Torah, a court case. Yaakov leaves the Beis Din, the rabbinical court, having lost the din Torah. While he is not pleased with the results, he does accept them and is prepared to abide by the judge's ruling. But when he meets his friend Shimon and tells him the news, Shimon is enraged, insisting that Yaakov has been wrong and a terrible injustice has been committed by the court. Though nothing has changed regarding the actual Beis Din proceedings, and Yaakov still has no choice but to abide by the ruling, he is now angry with the judges, convinced that the case was totally mishandled. Shimon is guilty of rechilos, of particular severity since he has spoken against Torah scholars, so that's a no-no too. This same dynamic is sometimes responsible for marital problems. A wife, for example, may not be terribly bothered that her husband did not remember her birthday, but her friend might feel that she's being taken for granted because, you tell your friends things, and provides her with a perspective that will make her angry with her husband. Again, that's not a good thing to do, to pit your husband against, from your friend, so it's better not to say those things. A husband may not care that his wife does not prepare elaborate dinners, but his well-meaning brother might step in and convince him that his spouse is not fulfilling her obligations as a wife. The Chofetz Chaim offers another case. Reuben spoke badly of Shimon in the presence of Levi and Yehuda. Levi goes and reports this to Shimon. Yehuda reasons, there can't be anything wrong in my telling Shimon that I was there too. He already knows about it from Levi. No, not a good thing. So Yehuda is wrong, says the Chofetz Chaim. Shimon may have doubted Levi's report until Yehuda came along and reinforced it. Even if there was no reason to suspect that Shimon doubted Levi's report, nevertheless, Yehuda's words add credibility to Levi's report and strengthen Shimon's bad feelings towards Reuben. Furthermore, says the Chofetz Chaim, it may be Yehuda's repetition of the report which causes Shimon to explode with rage and ignite a full-scale feud. So, that's not a good thing. So because you're kind of bringing it up again, it causes more problems. So that's going to be the end for today from this booklet. Again, some really good information that I hope you start applying and thinking about. And if you want to write down and take notes, again, you can always call some of the numbers I'll have below this video. I think they're very crucial. Like, when in doubt, ask somebody, before you blurt something out that you're not sure. I mean, in the heat of the moment, sometimes you say something and you didn't have time to go and ask a Rav. But if you think about it, or it's important. We don't realize the repercussions of it. So I hope and pray that we all will come together, united, and say only Haloshon Tov, not Lashon Hara, and do only good things for Hashem, and that we merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of the final, everlasting Beis HaMikdash. Amen. And thank you for watching.